So one thing that you'll probably hear me talk about the most is that first impression. In facilities, it's inevitable that somebody's going to be inconvenienced by a false fire alarm or a pipe break, or the list goes on and on. So the last thing I want to do, and the last thing you want to do, is on day one in August when students and parents arrive, is to walk into a room that doesn't look like it's been put together at all. And as you can see in this room, it's very fluid, it's very open, and this to me is very inviting. And that's what I want to drive home. You know, the desk chairs aren't in the middle of the room. They're not stuck in the closet. When you walk into something like that, it just looks like we didn't care, or we don't care, and that we didn't try to make it inviting for them. And so it's very important that it's uniform and things are straight. I think everybody, when they see it, you'll know. It's when you come in and it's messed up that you really take notice of something. And so we want to make sure that they don't take notice. We want to make sure that they come in and it's inviting. So you'll see again. Now when we do the room setups, it's important. All of our beds in Corbin Olson, Thompson Hall, and Lincoln and Washington are all what we call a loftable series of furniture. So rooms such as Bayless, Henninger, and Grody have what we call stackable furniture. This stuff's a little bit more heavy, but what it does is allows you to use these pin systems to actually stack your furniture on top of one another, and you can do a whole bunch of different configurations, and it allows a lot of flexibility for students. We do have, for the other set of furniture, safety rails available and ladders for both sets. And simply to get one of those, all they have to do is ask the hall clerk, and we'll get it to them for free within a day or two. We'll bring it up there so they can actually have a ladder to get up into their bed. When you go to Tanner Hall, they have the ability to purchase or rent a rental through a company that will bring those in the day of, and you'll get more information about that at move-in. But they do have the ability to open that wall up and rent a loft. They also could build their loft. It's a Tanner only. The only restriction is that it has to be freestanding, so it can't be attached to the floor, ceiling, or the walls, and it's got to be fire protected, which would be covered under a simple coat of paint or polyurethane or something of that nature. So they could do that. We don't see it very often. That company that we work with is very good to work. It's very good and good partners with us, so we want to push them towards that. And those lofts get delivered to the room before they arrive, and they get picked up about a week before final. So that's important there too. When a student leaves, it's important that they left the room like they found it. And so when they leave this room, I understand it's going to have a little bit of wear in it. Maybe the carpets need to be vacuumed, some things need to be touched up. But for the most part, the beds are at the same level, the chairs are pushed in, and all the furniture on the right side of the room that the student occupied. And so when you check those rooms, we want to make sure, when you're coming in, our drawers, when you're checking the student out, are the drawers full of anything? Nothing stinks more even after custodians get done and they drop the ball and you guys walk in and there's a wrapper or something in that drawer. It just looks bad. The other thing is we want to check the drawers, making sure that they roll all right. Is everything functioning as it should have? Are the desk chairs, are they stained? Do they look okay? This one looks a little tired, it's a little old, but for the most part, it doesn't look like it'd be gross to sit in, and that's something we want to look at. Everything seems to be intact. The mattress is in good shape, no rips, stains, or tears. The bed is at what we call the 4th and 5th rung, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll drive that home at the end of the year, because nothing stinks more than having to go through a building with only 3 or 4 student workers and have to put a couple hundred of these things back up to level. It's a lot easier if the students take care of that upon checkout. So that's important to know. The other things we want to check, you do it at winter break, so it's not so much when they move in, but at winter break we'll check the smoke detectors with a simple push of the button, just like you would at home. All of our smoke detectors are hardwired to the room, so there's no batteries to change, and it's not tied to the fire system, so we'll check that. The other thing we check with, there's no doors in this particular room on these closets, but we would check the closet doors, the towel bars, those things, making sure those things are hung and that they're operable when students move in and move out. So the last thing about the room setups and even decorating a room is just going through a few things that we get common questions about. So one of those is actually, can a student paint the room? The answer simply is no, they can't. They can't stencil, they can't do anything else to the walls themselves. Wallpaper is another question, they cannot do that. They can't put tactile paper on their furniture. We want to keep it in good shape so it looks good for the next person. That's why we buy nice looking furniture, so it can stay nice. In the rooms themselves, sometimes there's sprinkler pipes. In this case, it's through the closets. In the hallways, you can see that as well. We don't allow things to be hung on there. We don't let people hang on the bayless hinges. There's little cages over the sprinkler heads. We don't allow you to hang stuff over there like a hanger or Christmas lights, tinsel, anything like that, because we don't want to run the chance of it going off. So those are the last few things about decorating your room. Other than that, we want people to be expressive. Can they attach things to the walls like poster with tacks and things of that nature? Sure. Can they hammer stuff into the wall? I wouldn't recommend it because they then have to pay for that repair at the end of the year. So there's products out there, 3M, that kind of things. Those type of products are the things that are made. This double-sided tape, things that are made for wall adhesives, that's what I would recommend to lessen their chance. Not to make sure, they don't guarantee that they wouldn't get charged at the end of that removal, but it lessens their ability and lessens the chance to get charged at the end of the season. So your room condition report, or RCR, will be given to you as the students check in. That's like renting a car, or anytime you've rented something, you're asked to kind of go around it, check it to make sure there's nothing wrong with it. In the same situation here, we understand the rooms they're outdated, and we understand that they're a little tired. So we want to make sure that we're being fair to them at the end of the year, but at the same time, getting compensated for any damage that occurs. So there's a difference between normal wear and tear as there is to vandalism. And so that normal wear and tear may be little things like just marks on the wall, again, checking out the chairs if it's got some wear in it. That's normal wear and tear. If we found a room that had paint or something splattered on the wall, a hole, somebody punched the wall, or my personal favorite, when you have a bunch of holes that they tried to fill in with toothpaste or even tried to use their own spackle. We appreciate the effort, but we still need to come in and finish that for the next student. So that's the stuff that we'd be charging. We want to make sure that those RCRs, that they take their time. On the beginning of the school year, they're really excited. Sometimes they're tired. It's usually hot. It's a long day for them. So they want to skimp because it's small print. There's little boxes. And we want to make sure when they drive home that they have to take their time in filling those out, because at the end of the year you're going to cross-reference those and that'll assess the charges to them. So make sure when they're doing those check-ins that they're really looking at those RCRs, that they're checking the furniture, making sure that things are noted on that so that they save themselves in the end of the year, or when they move out, that they're not getting charged for those damages. One last thing you want to check when doing your room checks at the end of the school year when a student checks out, especially at the break, mainly because of the cold weather, the last thing you want to do is leave a window open. The wind blows in, especially on those taller buildings. It can bend your blinds, wreck the blinds, and again let cold air in, which then can freeze pipes and cause a big mess over that winter break. So when we're closing up for breaks and closing up for the summer, we want to make sure that the window's not only closed, because wind could easily blow that open, but those hasp locks are locked up and those hopper windows stay closed.